Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Braden, Tim, Second Legacy, you are amazing, and thank you for showing up. Today, we're going to talk about something that might boil your blood a little bit. So, you remember that whole news breaking story, those kinds of accusations from the Daily Wire that said, FEMA kind of skipped some Trump houses during Hurricane Milton and North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida? Well, the person who FEMA blamed and fired is now singing a little bit, and she says that it's systemic. The entire FEMA organization is coming out against Trump supporters, and there's very good reason why they do it. We're going to walk through this. You guys might find this fascinating. Of course, let us know what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, and of course, enjoy the show. Sarcasm and humor delivered on point. All right, Tim. I personally, I'm shocked and appalled that a government agency would be accused of such egregious behavior. Aren't you? I can't believe it.
I mean, think about it like this. Let's say you had a car accident and the emergency services people show up and they go, okay, you're in pretty rough shape. We're going to go ahead and get you treated here. Are you Democrat or Republican, by the way?
Yeah. That's
it's like, I mean, this is what violent revolutionaries like to do. They like to persecute those that they don't agree with or that don't agree with them. And so it's not shocking to me in that this is their mindset. But what's shocking to me is that it's systemic at the federal level. And it's not just one person, but she's now claiming it's an entire government organization that your tax dollars fund to discriminate against you and let you die after a hurricane.
After a hurricane and a natural disaster. I find that, I'm going to throw out our allegedly because, again, she could completely have sour grapes that she got fired because she was discriminating against people for political beliefs. It's completely possible that what she's saying is lying. I'll let you guys decide that. But, Dr. Slides, can you throw out the Daily Wire, just the headline, just so we can see it, so for reference? So this is it right here. FEMA official ordered relief workers to skip houses with Trump signs. The whistleblower in this article, again, this is from Daily Wire. This is not a no-name source. Quote, it's almost unbelievable to think that someone in the federal government would think that that's okay. And that story broke on November 8th. Now, that's where we were on the 8th. If we zoom forward to yesterday, this is the video post that just kind of released. This is the individual on the right side of the screen, Tim. I think her name is Marnie. I can't remember her last name. Marnie Williams, maybe. But the whole point here is she's the one that got fired. FEMA threw her under the bus, and she says that she's not the only one and everyone knew. Okay, so it's kind of like a finger-pointing game. Underneath the executive bureaucracy of FEMA, which is underneath what branch of government and who runs it? Yeah, Biden and Harris. It's uncomfortable. It's not cute. But let's listen to her a little bit and see what she has to say.
So if you turned in reports to your supervisors that state political hostility for the people in the field, those reports exist.
Yes, hence why I also sent you screenshots where they're deleting files now from my computer. So FEMA says they fired me, but I still have access to the systems and their applications. And while I was in an interview yesterday, I noticed that my files were being deleted in my name, and I could not have been doing that while I was talking to Madison. So FEMA is very well aware of the incidents that take place, not just with my crew, but with all of the crews in the state that's declared. And instead of just saying, hey, this is how we're going to mitigate it to protect our people, they decided to fire me and make sure Donald Trump knows that they are loyal to him because they fear retribution.
So there's a lot in there, Tim.
Yeah.
A whole lot in there. So systemic, they're deleting files.
Yeah, they're covering up.
They're covering up in order to say that they are loyal to Trump?
Seems to be a common theme, not just in the federal government, but you have, Mark Cuban out there deleting his tweets from where he supported Kamala Harris and saying, I congratulate Trump on his victory. And if there's anything I can do to be assistance, I'd love to be in the administration. It's like they're all bending the knee now. They're all worried, I guess. I don't know, for whatever reason.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting, though, something else that that's a very key, distinct point she just said? Well, if it's for the crew's safety. So she's implying anybody who has a Trump sign up in their front yard is a threat.
Yeah, I mean, because they're the violent Antifa types. They're probably sitting in there in their black outfits and little backpacks, with
Trump
Molotov
signs,
cocktails and pepper spray. Yeah, those crazy
out.
Trumpers, man. They're just a violent bunch.
They really are. It does check out. So the idea here that she's saying is there is a FEMA organization and a plan that is systemic across multiple states affected by the hurricanes, that all the carnage that we just saw, to skip people with Trump's houses or Trump signs on their houses because the safety of the crews.
Mm-hmm.
And now FEMA's deleting those applications and everything and all the evidence.
Yeah. And I'm sure they have.
It's true.
I'm sure they've well documented all this abuse that Trump supporters have heaped onto the FEMA workers trying to help them after their homes were destroyed by a hurricane.
Definitely.
I know if it were me and my house was just recently leveled to the ground and I was starving and my family was cold, wet, and tired and again, without food, the first thing that would cross my mind is like, is that a FEMA employee? That's got to be federal government. Let's go attack them.
They're going to get it. They're going to get it. Yeah, exactly.
The level of stupid here is mind-boggling. How they try to justify their hatred, and their hatred in this instance isn't just simple political hatred. By them not helping Trump supporters, they're letting them die and suffer.
Or suffer, right. It depends what it is. So if you go back to the Daily Wire article real quick, just kind of go to the next tab, Dr. Slides, and go down to the screen grab of the actual phone where it actually has the highlighted, and right there. It actually says on here, Tim, this is from the crews, implement best practices, avoid homes advertising Trump. You know how I didn't say avoid homes that attack you, that have Trump signs? It literally says avoid homes advertising Trump.
Yeah.
So if we go back to go back to the actual video on the other tab, let's pick it up and see what she says about that.
Once we start seeing a trend, for example, if they just so happen to have these Trump campaign signs in front of their home, and that's the characteristic that's coming along with that, we have to proceed with precaution. So avoidance first and then de-escalation. And that's the thing. Our superiors know that. We have constant conversations about keep your people safe. If your people are uncomfortable, then just don't go.
So explain this to me, please. Explain this to me. Okay. So I'm just trying to understand what that means. So again, if I'm on a house, if I'm on a street and it has 20 homes and there are 8 homes on that street with Trump signs and my team has faced hostility from 3 of the homes that have signs, what happens next?
I inform my TFL, my direct report, hey, we're again experiencing hostile encounters. We're moving on to another street. We're not canvassing those homes.
Okay, hold on, pause right here. So, Tim, that makes total sense, right? Because their whole point is to help everyone there, and in this hypothetical, that street. But because there are 8 signs out of 20 homes, because those 8 signs are Trump houses, and 3 of those 8 showed some sort of hostility or they felt uncomfortable, you're going to skip the entire street.
Yeah, and let's remind the audience what uncomfortable means to a leftist. Uncomfortable means they didn't use the proper pronoun. Maybe they looked at them in such a way that made them feel uncomfortable. Any number of things. Maybe they were wearing a red T-shirt, which reminded them of the Republican Party, and that makes them unsafe. They're not in their safe space. They may have used words that they found to be not kind, like "I'm hurt. This sucks. Help us, please, you jerks. We're dying over here."
Right.
I mean, any number of things could make them feel unsafe. And just seeing a white face, if you're black, might make you feel unsafe, and vice versa. Right? They're hyper fixated on virtue signaling, skin color, gender, everything else that makes them unsafe versus just going in and helping people that literally had their entire lives ripped out from underneath them. Yes, they're going to be a little bit agitated, perhaps, and it has nothing to do with politics. I can guarantee you Trump supporters weren't running out of their devastated homes going, "Are you a Biden supporter?"
Right. It's just, I promise that's not true. You're correct.
It's just lunacy, dude.
So now, it is. That's why we're covering this. So now let me show you, or I'm just going to tell you, you don't need to switch this, Dr. Slides. I'm just going to give you a quote from the FEMA spokesperson when this came up in the Daily Wire article. Listen to this, okay? Again, contrast this with what she's saying. After publication of this story, a FEMA spokesperson told the Daily Wire it was deeply disturbed and, of course, horrified by the employee's actions and has taken extreme actions to correct the situation. By the way, that means she got fired. That's the extreme action. Okay,
not put in prison where she belongs. Fired.
Exactly, not in prison for discrimination. No. Just extreme action of fired. Quote, while we believe this is an isolated incident, so they're saying we believe it's isolated, we have taken measures to remove the employee from their role and are investigating the matter to prevent this from happening ever again. The spokesman said in an emailed statement, the employee who issued this guidance has no authority and was given no direction to tell teams to avoid these homes, and we are reaching out to people who may not have been reached as a result of this incident. That's a little different than what she's saying. Again, it could totally be, Tim, that she's just sour grapes and pissed and trying to make a stink. But there's some pretty specific details of standard operating procedures it seems that she's walking through.
There's no way that she would feel so confident as to put that into writing if there weren't other people in that organization that would just let it go or even support the concept, right? There's no way she would make voice calls and say, hey, just a reminder, just between us, no Trump supporters, okay? She wouldn't put it into writing and blast it out to the entire team, because that would then be seen by other people within the organization. And if they were truly opposed to it, they go, what did you just say?
Right.
So here she is sending out, how else can you view this other than she cannot be the only person involved in this? And what about the people that received this text message? Why did they not go to the media? And why did they carry this out? They're in on it. So it's not just one person, because this went out to a number of people and nobody got in trouble until the media got a hold of it.
Correct. And that's why this is so interesting. And this is the part that I find so fascinating, because, again, it shows up in this Daily Wire article of what she's saying. And we'll go back to her in a second. But it says best practice to avoid homes advertising Trump. And then towards the end of this, again, this is what she said a minute ago, practice de-escalation and preventative measures. What she's qualifying as preventative measures, if someone feels uncomfortable and safe, is if they feel uncomfortable, you just skip every single person on that street. It's what you said earlier. It's putting your feelings and your hypersensitivities over your responsibility to the people in a disaster area, and then using that as excuse as, well, they're Trump supporters, so I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
dude, it's so twisted. But let's go back. Maybe she has some more, because it gets spicier.
So again, only for. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And that's the directive too. Like, honestly, he has called me multiple times and says, your job is to keep the team safe.
I'm sorry. When you say he, who's he?
Oh, Chad Hershey.
Okay. Who's Chad Hershey?
The TFL my assigned TFL for this deployment. So
Chad Hershey has told you what?
That if your team is uncomfortable and they do not feel safe, do not go to those homes. Go and canvass the other homes. Your job is to keep these people safe. They need to be able to go back home safe.
Right. Yeah. So the team leader told her multiple times, do not go to those homes. Do not canvass those homes. This seems, and I'm going to be very generous here, Tim, this seems systemic. Mm-hmm. This does not seem isolated incident. This seems like an interpretation of discomfort and safety assigned to anyone who would have a Trump political affiliation. All of a sudden, now they don't get help because the people in the federal bureaucracy of FEMA feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's manipulating language.
They just don't like how they're voting. That makes them truly uncomfortable. I mean. They don't want to knock on the door of a fascist. I mean, who wants to knock on the door of a fascist?
Dude, nailed it. You nailed it. That's exactly right. Because the media and the Democrats have allowed the political persecution of Trump supporters as, well, they have a Trump sign, so therefore they must be evil, therefore they must goose step, and they must be Nazis, they must be fascists. I feel uncomfortable, so therefore I get to determine who gets federal bureaucratic resources because I'm uncomfortable. This is why you do not give overwhelming power to an overbearing bureaucratic state, because they will start to wield the power. The government won't do it. The individuals running it will do it. This is the lesson. Anyway.
And this is the dangers of a single party state. Could you imagine if these people had nobody checking their power and their abuse of power? They would run roughshod over everybody they disagree with. This is the mindset of the left, people. They're not content just simply disagreeing with you. They want you destroyed because they disagree with you or you disagree with them. And that is not how this is supposed to work. Like, you don't see all the conservatives out there when they lose an election making videos of them shaving their heads, sterilizing themselves, and then waiting in line to move to Canada, because they're rational human beings that realize you're not going to win every election. The Democrats, on the other hand, they freak out every time they lose an election. It's the end of the world. They're all going to lose their rights. They're all going to die. They're all going to protest. They're going to become part of the resistance.
Or the
a bunch
news
of
cycle changes.
It's
No. Not that. I don't think we can say that one.
Well, you said the S word in the yesterday's video. I can say retread.
Yes. Hold on. Oh my God. Hold on. HR is coming in. Yep. It turns out upon further review on the play, we had a flag, and he was talking about tires that have worn down the tread, and you are trying to retread the tires. Enunciation was an issue there. I think you're right, Tim.
It was. Yeah. I got a little tongue tied. I meant retread. There are a bunch of retreads.
Because we were talking about FEMA vehicles, and you need tires with tread
not
on
retreads.
FEMA vehicles.
Yeah, retreads are bad.
Not retreads. Those are bad because they fall apart. You can't count on them. But
anyway,
exactly. You need solid treaded vehicles when you were discriminating against Trump supporters. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah. And in my defense, assuming I really did mean to say the other word.
Allegedly
saying the other word. I thought it was okay. Now I thought we were back to it being okay. I thought
because Nazis are in charge, right? It's a fascist time, right? That's what I heard. I don't know where I heard it. Picked it up somewhere.
Where were we?
Oh, we were trying to avoid getting banned by doing HR protocols. And the story was pretty much over, and you seem to throw that in there. So really, I mean, if you can make us not banned on the way out, we'll be right as rain.
All right. Well, I just want to thank this lovely lady for her service to her country and to the Biden supporters, just not the Trump supporters. It's truly the American way. Thanks for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.